What's up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi at Sports Betting, here to give you some best bets to make for the MLB Home Run Derby tonight. We got 8 participants, and I have a bunch of my favorite bets for you guys to lock in for the Home Run Derby. Real quick, before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are not already. Going to be coming out with a ton of different stuff over the course of the summer before football season starts. So make sure to subscribe, put those notifications on, and let's get started. So for the Home Run Derby, before we get into some best bets, just a couple quick notes. There are 4 first round matchups. There are 2 sides of the bracket. On one side in the first round, we have the number 1 seed, Luis Robert Jr., against the number 8 seed, Adley Rustman. On that same side of the bracket is the number 4 seed, Adolis Garcia, versus the number 5 seed, Randy Arozarena. And then on the other side of the bracket, and this is definitely the more difficult side of the bracket, we have a brutal first round matchup between Pete Alonso and Julio Rodriguez. And then we have another first round matchup between Mookie Betts and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So just a couple notes. Alonso is obviously the betting favorite here. He's won the Home Run Derby twice. Julio Rodriguez in his rookie year was in the finals of the Home Run Derby last year, but he has a brutal first round matchup against Pete Alonso. And then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was in the Home Run Derby in the finals of the Home Run Derby back in 2019. And there was no Derby in 2020, if you remember. So without further ado, my first bet for the MLB Home Run Derby is we are going with the longest home run in the Derby to be under 490 feet. This is at minus 125 odds at DraftKings, just a 1-unit play. Now, I understand that taking an under for the longest home run hit feels lame, but it is unfortunately also the way to go here. So, looking at the Home Run Derby last year in 2021 at Dodger Stadium, the longest home run hit was 482 feet. 8 feet lower than what the total is for this Home Run Derby. And then we had one home run hit at 480 and another one at 478. So we didn't really get close to the 490 number that we are taking under. So you're going to want to take out the 2021 Home Run Derby because that was played at Coors Field and there were a zillion 500 plus feet home runs hit, but that was clearly the outlier as there's never been a home run hit at 500 feet and the Home Run Derby outside of that. So you really can just take that out of the equation. As I mentioned, there was no Home Run Derby in 2020. The longest in 2019 was only 476, and the longest in 2018 was only 473. So when you think about it, taking out the Home Run Derby at Coors Field, none of the last 3 Home Run Derbies have had a home run hit even close to the 490 number that we are taking an under at. And then lastly, it's being played at Mariner Stadium, T-Mobile Park. That is a below average park for home runs to be hit. It also starts at 5 p.m. and it's worse during the day. So in the first round, when the players are going to be fresh, it's going to be not great home run conditions. So overall, getting this to go the highest number to be under, lower than 490 and a half. Again, that's minus 125 at DraftKings. I think is a great play. Now, next up, I'm going to have 3 bets to make specifically for the first round. And my favorite bet of the night, I'm putting my most unit size on this one, is Luis Robert Jr. to win his first round matchup against Adley Rustman at minus 205 odds at Caesars. Now, I don't love the odds here, obviously at minus 205, but what we're doing for this one, we are risking to win 1 unit. So we're risking 0.205 units to win 1 unit. Again, I don't love the odds, but this is my favorite bet of the entire Home Run Derby. So Adley, good player for the Orioles. He's a catcher. He ranks 226th in the MLB with a barrel rate of 6.7%. Now, for those of you that follow along the Dong Report, anything that is 12% and above is considered great. Anything 15% and above is considered excellent. He is all the way at 6.7%. That's not good. Now, I also like to look at ISO rate. His ISO rate is only 15%. That's also not great. Barrel rate measures how well you hit the barrel of the bat. ISO rate measures power. He is significantly below the rest of the participants on those 2 numbers. Now, Robert Jr., on the other hand, A is hot. He's hit the second most home runs in the MLB since June 1st, and he has the 5th best ISO rate in the entire MLB at 29.8%, and he's got a barrel rate that is considered excellent, over 15%. So for the first round, I think he is going to smoke Adley Rutschman in the first round. I think getting it at minus 205 odds, albeit not great, is still just excellent value. Next up, I have 2 picks for plus money for players to win their first round. The first one is Julio Rodriguez to win the first round against Pete Alonso at plus 138 at FanDuel. Now, this one obviously is scary because, like I mentioned before, Pete Alonso is the 2-time champ in the Home Run Derby, but this is strictly a play A on Julio Rodriguez making it to the finals last year when he put on a pretty good performance. And B, it is Julio Rodriguez plays for the Mariners, so this is a home run, or excuse me, a home game, home run derby, however you want to call it, for Julio Rodriguez. So it's going to be tough for him to win the whole thing because he's in a brutal bracket, but for him to get hot in the first round and beat Pete Alonso, I do think is good value at plus 138. Just a small half unit play on that one, but I do think the value is there. Next up, another half unit play, this time on Mookie Betts to beat Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the first round. This is best offered at plus 192 odds at Caesars. So Mookie, he's not like a big towering presence, but he does hit for great power, and he has one of the most consistent swings in the MLB. It's a very smooth swing, so you don't really have to worry about him having an inconsistent swing and just sometimes not getting a good hit, good barrel rate power on the ball. Of all of the Home Run Derby participants, Mookie Betts actually has the best ISO rate, which again measures isolated power. That's at 30.8%. Again, best of all Home Run Derby participants. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., known as a big, huge power hitter, is only at 16.9% ISO rate on the year. So that's obviously not great. It's not hitting for great power this year. And then in terms of barrel rate, which I also like to look at, they're pretty much even. Vlad is a little bit better than Mookie Betts, but they're both in the great territory of barrel rate, and Vlad is a small percentage better than Mookie. So for my money, the difference between ISO rate of Mookie and Vlad is worth the plus 192 odds, considering they're the same at barrel rate. And then last up, I'm going to have 2 bets for the actual winner of the Home Run Derby. The first one is going to be my favorite long shot bet, and we're going back to Mookie Betts at plus 1,800 odds. Obviously, I already talked about him above. He leads all participants in ISO rate, and while his barrel rate isn't considered excellent, it's still in the great category above 12%, so that's good. And getting him at plus 1,800 odds, I think is just excellent value. Now, this is a smaller play. I'm only putting a 1/10 of a unit on this one, 1/10 of a unit to win 18 units, which is crazy. 1.8 units, which is crazy. So I do think that the value is here on him at plus 1,800. And then last up, my official prediction, my favorite bet for a player to win the Home Run Derby is Luis Robert Jr. This is at plus 550 odds at Caesars. Now, Luis Robert Jr., I mentioned this at the top. He's got the easiest path to victory. He's got extremely easy first-round matchup, Adley Rutschman. Again, I think he's almost a lock to beat him. And then he's got to win the second-round matchup between Adolis Garcia and Randy Arozarena. Much easier bracket than in the other one, where you have to possibly go through Julio Rodriguez, Pete Alonso, Mookie Betts. And Vlad, obviously Vlad. I didn't even mention Vlad, who's the favorite to beat Mookie Betts. So I think that is that bottom bracket is a very difficult one. Luis Robert Jr., I think, has a pretty easy way to get the path to get to the finals. So I love that part of it. And then I mentioned he's second in the MLB in home runs since June 1st, so he's hot. And he's the only player participating in the Home Run Derby that has an excellent ISO rate and barrel rate. His barrel rate is above 15%. I already mentioned his ISO rate is 5th best in the MLB at 29.8%, and his barrel rate is, I think, 21st, the 21st best in the MLB. So he's not one of the top 10 in that category, but he is the only player in the Derby that is top 10 that is excellent in both categories. So all in all, I think that there's a lot of value on Luis Robert Jr. to win the Home Run Derby at plus 550 odds, small quarter unit play. And that's all I got. So if you're tailing any and all of these picks, comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.